My world was small. It was made of mud walls and tin roofs. We called it the trenches. This was not a place for dreams. It was a place for survival. Every day was a fight. Hunger was a constant friend. It sat in my stomach like a heavy stone. I would watch other children in their clean school uniforms. They carried books and lunch boxes. I carried an empty bucket, hoping for water. They learned about numbers and letters. I learned how to be invisible. I learned how to make a small piece of bread last for 2 days. This was my school. The lessons were hard, and the teacher was life itself. I felt like a ghost in my own city. I could see the world of shiny cars and tall buildings, but I could not touch it. It was a movie playing on a screen, and I was on the wrong side. Loneliness was a blanket I could not shake off. The other children had games, but my game was finding food. They had friends, but my friends were the stray dogs who understood what it meant to be hungry. I would talk to them sometimes. They never judged me, they just listened. It was a strange kind of comfort in a world that offered very little. My mother worked hard. Her hands were rough, her back was always tired. She would leave before the sun came up and return long after it went down. Some days she brought back food. On those days, we were rich. We would eat slowly, making every bite count. On other days, she came back with nothing but more worry on her face. On those days, we drank water for dinner and told ourselves stories about big feasts. We pretended we were kings and queens in a great castle, just for a little while. Pretending was free, and sometimes it was all we had. I wanted more, but I did not know what more was. How can you dream of a world you have never seen? My future felt like a closed door with no key. School was not for me. Books were not for me. A good job was not for me. These things belonged to the other world, the world on the other side of the screen. My world was about today. Tomorrow was a luxury we could not afford to think about. I was just a boy in the trenches, a forgotten story in a city full of bright lights and loud noises. One day, everything changed. A man named David came to our area. He used to live here. He had escaped. He was a friend of my older cousin. David did not look like us anymore. He wore clean clothes. He had a smile that reached his eyes. He carried a small, glowing rectangle in his hand. He called it a smartphone. He said it was his office. I did not understand. How can a small, shiny box be an office? My idea of an office was a big building in the city, a place I could never enter. David sat with a group of us. He showed us the glowing screen. He tapped and swiped his fingers. Pictures appeared. Words appeared. He said he worked in something called digital marketing. It was a strange phrase. Digital marketing. He explained it in simple words. He said, "I help people sell things online. I use the internet to tell stories about products. When people buy the products, I get paid." He showed us a website he made for a small shop that sold shoes. It was like magic. He told us his story. It was like my story. He grew up hungry. He grew up without shoes. He felt alone. But someone showed him the internet. Not for games, but for learning. He found free videos. He found free articles. He learned how to build a website. He learned how to write things that made people want to buy. He said the internet was the one school that was free for everyone. It was a library with no walls and no closing time. All you needed was a connection to the world. A small fire started inside me that day. It was a tiny spark of hope. For the first time, I saw a path. It was not a clear path. It was a dark and winding trail in a forest I did not know. But it was a path. David said, "Your location does not have to be your destination." He looked at me when he said it. It felt like he was speaking directly to my heart. A smartphone, the internet, digital marketing. These words echoed in my mind. Maybe, just maybe, this could be my key to the locked door. Getting access to the internet was my first big challenge. I had no phone, I had no computer. But there was a small community center a few miles away. It had 2 old computers that were free for public use. I started walking there every single day. I would wait in line for hours, just for 1 hour of computer time. My fingers, more used to dirt and rocks, felt clumsy on the keyboard. The first few weeks, I just learned how to type. A, S, D, F. It was my new alphabet, the alphabet of a new life. I remembered what David said, free videos. I went to a website called YouTube. I typed in, "What is digital marketing?" 1,000 videos appeared. It was overwhelming. I did not know where to start. But I picked one, and then another, and another. I listened to people from all over the world. They talked about SEO, social media, and email campaigns. The words were big and confusing. I wrote them down in a tattered notebook I had found. Every night, under the light of a single candle, I would review my notes. I would say the words out loud. Search, engine, optimization. It was slow, so incredibly slow. There were days I wanted to give up. My friends would be playing outside, and I was inside, staring at a screen, feeling more lost than ever. They laughed at me sometimes. "He thinks he is a businessman," they would joke. The hunger was still there. The poverty was still there. Nothing had changed on the outside, but inside, I was building something. Brick by brick, video by video, I was building knowledge. I practiced what I learned. I created a fake Facebook page for a fake shoe company and wrote posts for it. I failed a lot. My writing was bad. My ideas were weak. But I did not stop. Every failure was a lesson. I learned that SEO meant helping people find things on Google. I learned that a good story was more powerful than a good price. I started offering to help the small vendors in my local market. "Let me take a picture of your tomatoes and post it online for you," I would say. Most of them said no. But one old woman who sold handmade baskets said yes. She had nothing to lose. I took pictures with a borrowed phone. I wrote her story. The story of her hands weaving magic from grass. It was my first real project. Something amazing happened. A few days after I posted the story of the basket weaver, a woman from the city contacted her. She saw the post online. She owned a small gift shop. She wanted to buy all the baskets. The old woman cried when she told me. She paid me a small amount of money. It was the first money I had ever earned. It felt heavier than gold. It was not just money. It was proof. Proof that the magic was real. Proof that the hours in the dark, the long walks, the hungry nights, they all meant something. That one small success was like a key turning in a lock. The door to my future creaked open. Other vendors in the market started asking for my help. I created a simple web page for our community market. I took pictures of fresh vegetables, handmade crafts, and smiling faces. I told the story of our trench, not as a place of sadness, but as a place of hard work and resilience. People from outside our small world started to notice. They came not just to buy, but to connect. The market started to get busier. My small spark had started a small fire. Life began to change. I was no longer the hungry boy in the shadows. I was the internet boy. I saved enough money to buy my own second-hand laptop. It was old and slow, but it was mine. My office. I could finally help my mother. She stopped working her back-breaking job. We had enough food every day. We even had enough to fix the leaky roof. The heavy stone of hunger in my stomach was gone. In its place was a feeling of pride. I had not escaped the trenches. I was helping to rebuild them from the inside. Today, my life is different, but I have not forgotten where I came from. I started a small class in the same community center where I first touched a computer. I teach the young children of the trenches about digital marketing. I show them how to use the internet to learn, to create, and to build. I tell them David's story. I tell them my story. I show them that their minds can be their way out. I tell them, your location is not your destination. And when I see that spark of hope in their eyes, the same spark I felt all those years ago, I know my triumph is not just my own. It belongs to all of us.